Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Still too gloomy really to film here in London on March afternoon, but I have no choice to do it today because I won't be around at all in the hours of daylight this week. So I wanted to show you my latest, I was going to say mini haul from Chanel, although in fact I seem to have ended up with quite a few products. Not all of the ones you're seeing there. I've got some nail polish compare and contrasts to do. So this haul is a bit of a mishmash of the collections at the moment. I'm not sure what Chanel is up to really. It's very difficult to get a kind of coordinated view of what's being released and when. This little haul's really provoked by my search for the illuminating powder Camelia de Chanel, which I knew was on the horizon because our American friends got it a long time before us. I'm not really sure whether it's part of any particular collection. It wasn't kind of on the promotional material for the Coco Code collection. And I don't know whether it was released in Asia or, one of those or whatever. Anyway, I managed to get my hands on it about a fortnight ago, actually. I haven't had a chance to show you, so I thought we'd have a look. First thing to note, this is the first Chanel product I've seen with this rather nice red, it looks like lacquer, of course it's plastic, top to the palette. And I think this is rather smart. I do like the Chanel packaging, always. I think it's nice quality and I love the design. I know some people think it's time for an update, but I just think it's so iconic. And, by chopping and changing the lids and the colours, I guess you can break it up a little bit and introduce new things. So I really like this. I'm slightly puzzled as to why they've done it for this particular powder. To me, it would have made sense to use this red packaging for the Rouge Coco collection last autumn-fall, for example, when red was kind of a feature of it, but, maybe I'm too literal. Anyway, here we go. This is the Camelia de Chanel, very well-known Chanel symbol, being used here for a highlighter. And if we look at the detail of the packaging, we've got one of these like half moon brushes with the Chanel again in red on this one. They're not bad little brushes for reapplying in your handbag. And there we have it, the camellia flower in a light yellow gold. I don't know if I bring it up close, whether you can see the detail, perhaps not, of kind of fine hairline hatching pattern on the sculpture. And it immediately reminded me of the Lumière d'été. I don't know if this was last year or the year before. This actually, this was called an illuminating powder as well, but on me it worked far more as a bronzer. No brush in this one. There you go. Same sort of pattern. Obviously I've used this one quite a lot. I do use it as a sort of bronzer in the summer. It's quite a nice, not too densely pigmented, but pigmented enough for me, but quite warm bronzer, so not suitable for me at this time of year, but in the summer. So I thought that was quite interesting. Now, whilst this looks very beautiful in the pan, I have to tell you, I don't think it's one of the best performing Chanel illuminating powders at all. There we go with a finger swatch. Looks quite good. You can see very bright light yellow. There I think you can see it's a fairly subtle shimmer, and if you blend it out becomes very subtle indeed. Looks more just like a wet look. Now it may be me because I like my highlighters to look fairly strong. I prefer to have a very densely pigmented highlighter that I can shear out using a fan brush, or have the opportunity of, looking really wow, rather than a very faint one, which this is. But some people who like, a much more subtle highlight will like this one, I guess. The only thing I would say is even then, it doesn't wear that well. I've tried it perhaps twice and felt that it wore off really pretty quickly. I tend to use my highlighter after powdering for obvious reasons, but I just didn't feel this lasted very brilliantly. So I don't think it's a very high performing product, particularly for the price. I've forgotten how much I paid, but it was a lot. I'm going to say over £50. And for that sort of price, I think you'd be much better off with, for example, one of the Dior Show highlighting powders, which I think are much better quality. Even the Hourglass, although they tend to be a bit more subtle. Kevin Aucoin, lots of other ones that do a bit better. Even the Tom Ford kind of jelly powder highlighters, I think, perform better than that one. Shame, but there we go. And then left over from the Cocoa Code collection, you'll remember I dithered about buying either of the eye palettes and ended up not doing so. There are two, Code Subtil, which is beautiful but very subtle and very like other ones that I had. And then this one, which I've eventually gone back for, which is Code Elegant, which is, I'm not doing very well opening things today, the brighter, very gold based. So in many ways it goes really well with the highlighter, and I said at the time, and I maintain now, I think this is quite an odd time, i.e. spring, to have released this particular product. It would have been brilliant at holiday season or even in the summer, because these are very strong burnished golds, which, I don't know, just seems slightly counterintuitive at this time of year. But having said that, I do really like this palette. I've worn it a couple of times. I'm not usually a fan of warmer palettes, although as golds go, I think apart from this one, they're fairly medium. They're pretty pigmented. I really like this brown. It looks very dark in the palette, but actually shears out to a brilliant transition colour, and it's not matte, but it's nearly matte, kind of lustery colour. The other golds, you can see, pretty well pigmented, and a nice selection actually. They blend well. I really like having this creamy gold, I would say, or maybe a goldy cream in this palette, because as I said before, I'm one of those people who really needs a white or cream brightening in the inner corner of my eye, and it's just really convenient to have it in a small quad like this. So I am enjoying this palette. I do like it, but perhaps I will like it more in the summer, or wear it more regularly in the summer. But it does perform well, and it's a nice selection. Now, when I went in for the Camelia, I was also looking specifically for the nail polishes, and as part of the latest nail polish release, which I'll come to, or alongside the latest nail polish release, which I'll come to in a minute, they've brought out a couple of Rouge Coco Stilo, literally a couple, I think two. So this is the Rouge Coco formula, which, if you're familiar with it, is the kind of stickier, wetter, shinier lipstick formula, but in a stilo size. This, I think, may be just a cunning way of giving less product for the same price. But some people like the kind of convenient way it's packaged. So I thought I'd try one of them, and I got this one. The sales assistant wanted me to get the other one, which is, you can see this is quite an orangey red. The other one was much pinkier red. She might have been right, but I just felt this was a bit more out of my comfort zone. Now, two things to note about this. First of all, it is a very, very soft formula. Feels very nice on the lips. Not very nice the way it kind of bunches over the end of the bullet, which is going to make the top very messy very quickly. I'm not a fan of that. I thought I'd compare it with the Rouge Cocos. Now, here's the thing. There is already a one which is called Fiction, i.e. the same as this, but confusingly, a completely different colour. Nice reddy plum. I actually like this one, wear it quite a lot. And you can see it appears difficult to tell because it's the different colour. A slightly less densely pigmented formula. Here's the nearest one I could find to this colour, which is a Rebel. And again, I don't know if you can see, they look very similar in the bullet, but you can see that when applied swatched, the Rouge Cocoa Shine is less pigmented than the Stilo. So they are definitely a different formula. And if you like the kind of slippy, shiny look, but you want a bit more pigment, then you might like the Stilo, although I do find it a bit messy to apply. So then the big reason I went into my favourite Chanel shop at this particular time was because I was on the hunt for a particular nail polish that I'd seen on the blogs. It's called Washed Denim. A grey, greasy blue. I know some people were disappointed by this. I actually rather like it. I have worn it, and it's a nice formula. It is extremely like, on the nails, this one by Dior, Junon, from a couple of years ago. They're looking quite different, really, in the viewfinder. You can see the Washed Denim is much kind of greyer than this kind of dusky blue. But they do look actually very similar on the nails. I was wearing this Junon a few videos back, and a lot of people thought it was Washed Denim that I was wearing. This is an old favourite of mine. I do like this one. Just on the blues point, there is another blue coming out, I hope in the UK. It's been released in the States. We haven't got it over here. Much lighter blue. I've forgotten what it's called. Glacier, maybe? Which seems to me to be very like Dior's Porcelain. I think I'm probably going to like that. I like this less on the nails than June on it. It's a very pretty colour. It just doesn't suit me quite as well. I picked up another couple of nail polishes at the same time. This one's from Coco Code. Well, I say I picked it up at the same time. This one I actually bought on eBay from a viewer. So thank you very much, Wendy Wu, I think. I got it safely. I'm wearing it now. This is beige, and it was part of the Coco Code. Nice beige cream. If you've got a big stash, it's a bit lighter and creamier than Lovely Beige, which was one of the Lait Beige from last year. Bit like, well, actually not all that like. There's much more gold shimmer in Attention, but same kind of tone. So I've only had this on for a couple of hours, so I can't tell you how it wears. And then they also had this one, Emblématique. I love me a Chanel red, and I thought it went with the red packaging. I did think, well, you know, I've got so many blood Chanel reds. It's bound to be a dead ringer for one that I've already got but in my collection, but it's the new formula. Now, in fact, when I had a route around, I have literally 3 trays, 3 drawers full of what I would call true Chanel reds. And there wasn't a perfect match. I thought it was going to be like Pirate. And they're looking pretty close in the viewfinder. But this one is a lot more crimson than Pirate. The nearest I got was quite an old one. This is Pulsar, I think. Yeah, from many years back, which is very, very similar. But I think a bit more waterier formula, maybe because it's quite old. Haven't worn this one yet, but it just shows how many different shades of Chanel red there are, justifying lunatics like me buying them again and again and again. So there's my little mini Chanel haul for you all. I hope you're all doing well, and until next time, bye for now.